Hey everyone, so I wanted to send out a quick recording and I didn't even know what to call it. It's just Unity basics, so a lot of you were asking me about like how to get Unity and we talked about the color tint today in class. We talked about changing it from mono develop and all this kind of stuff. So I'm just going to do like a quick tutorial and just play around with Unity for a minute and show you all these basics that I don't know, that I know about Unity. So let's take a look and hopefully this is just a good starting point. So when you look in Unit 5 of the OHS, it's not so overwhelming because first time you get into Unity, it can be pretty overwhelming. So if you watch this video, hopefully, you'll feel a little bit more familiar with some of the menu items and stuff like that. So let's take a look at Unity. So the first thing I'm going to do is I will search Unity and I'll go to their, actually, I'll go to Google. Let's do that. So here's K12 and let's go to Google. All right, Google. All right, there we go. Google. All right, and let's just do Unity. There we go, Unity. So Unity quotes, all that good stuff. And then we're going to go to Unity Game Engine, okay? So Unity Game Engine, this is where you're going to download it, unity3d.com. And we're going to go to Get Unity. And here's the crazy thing. So we're going to try personal because you're just going to use the personal one. But a lot of people get confused because there's so many different types of Unity, okay? So here's what I like to do. Go down to older versions of Unity. All right, at the very bottom, older versions of Unity, and grab a copy of Unity 5 or Unity 4. There's very little difference between Unity 5 and Unity 4. It's so little, in fact, that I would say it's not going to matter until maybe the last week of the course that you don't have Unity 5. I prefer using Unity 4. I like Unity 4.6.9. It's just the one I'm familiar with. It's the one I've used more than any other one. So I would get 4.6.9. But if you want to get Unity 5, doesn't matter, grab one. The only thing you need to know is that Unity 5, Unity 4, Unity 3, and Unity 2017 don't work with each other. So it doesn't matter what type or what year or version you have of each of these, as long as you use one consistently, you'll be fine. So you don't want to make a game in Unity 4 and then try to open it up in Unity 5 because it's going to have some issues. So I would go to Unity 4. Like I said, if you want yours to look exactly like mine, grab 4.6.9. Or you can grab the one straight from the OHS. There is a link in the OHS to a Unity. I'm not really sure what version it is, but if you want it to look like exactly like the OHS, get the one from the OHS. If you want it to look exactly like mine, get the one from 4.6.9. So it's totally up to you. So we'll go to download for Windows or Mac, depending on what you have. Download the Unity editor and then run through the install process. So you'll see it come down here. You can see I've downloaded some other games and things already, but you'll just want to download it and run through the installer. Now, once it's installed, you're going to have a little shortcut on your computer. I have 2017 and Unity 4.6 on my desktop, so I'll open up 4.6 first to show you some of these basics. So I already have a game created here, but let's say we were starting a new project. So let's go from brand new. I'm going to put it in here, new Unity Project 1, and I'm going to start in 2D mode. Now, you'll start in 2D mode for most of the stuff in this class, but we will get into some 3D stuff later. It makes very little difference which mode you start in. So let's hit create, and we're going to create a new project. So this is what it's going to look like when you have a brand new project. It's a totally empty assets folder. Your console will be in the bottom left. If yours does not look exactly like this, you can go up to the top and do layout default, and it will change back to this default. So remember, you can move these around. So like I like to put my console up here on my top right, but again, that's just personal preference. It's up to you. You don't have to, but I like to do that. But we can go to default, and it'll throw it back down here at the bottom. So inside of my, this is a blank project. There's nothing here. But the problem is we need something called a scene in order to start a game. You always have to have at least one scene. So the best thing to do is to, right when you create a new project, go to File, and then Save Scene, all right? And if you do Save Scene, you'll be able to save your scene in here, inside your Assets folder or wherever you want to put it. So let's just do New Scene, okay? And actually, you know what, I like to call these main. I like to call my first scene main. That's like your main, your splash screen, the very first thing your gamers are going to see when they turn on their game. And then let's hit save. And you'll notice that down here in your assets folder, you now have a main scene. Now, scenes can also be called levels. It's the same thing. It's something like levels or different screens that your players are going to see. Those are all called scenes in Unity, okay? So we have our main scene. Now this is a new Unity project. We can actually start working on this project, okay? So a couple things you'll notice. You've got some movement tools up here that you can use. They're pretty basic. There's like a grab and move tool so you can move the camera. There's some actual move tools so you can click and actually move objects around. There's resizing, all these cool tools. Another thing you'll notice is this little 2D is pressed in. If I were to click on this and turn it to 3D, you'll see that it turns into a 3D plane. So that's the only difference between starting in 2D mode versus in starting in 3D mode, is we're dealing with a 3D plane. Now, for this project, I'm just going to leave it on 2D mode, okay? So, 2D mode. The next thing I want to show you, and I've got a list of things here that I wanted to make sure I show you. So I showed you how to download it. The next thing I want to do is show you how to edit your colors. All right, so this becomes very important when we're talking about play mode. So there's this little thing that when you want to try your game, when you want to test the game that you've been making, you're going to have to click this play button at the top of the screen. Well, the problem is when you download Unity for the first time, play mode does not look any different than editing mode. It looks exactly the same. So what we want to do is we want to change one of our colors to make the play mode look a little bit different. And the reason we do that is because any edits that you make to a project in play mode will not save. So you don't want to be changing all this stuff about your game and then realize an hour later that you were in play mode and none of that's going to save. So we go to Edit at the top left, and then go to Preferences, Colors, and Play Mode Tint. This one right here is the one. We went over this in the recording today in class, but I want to go ahead and just show it again. And I want you to change this to any color that you like, just some color that's bright and that you'll be able to notice right away. And I'll show you what's going to happen. So we hit out of that, exit out of that, and then watch what happens when I click Play Mode. So now the whole screen is highlighted in yellow, and what this does is it allows me to see, okay, I am definitely in play mode. I definitely do not want to make any edits to my scripts or my layout or moving, because if I were to go in here and grab something and move it in play mode, when I go out of play mode, it's going to move it back, okay? So change the play mode tint. That's the first very important thing you need to do, okay? Next is your text editor, all right? So I'm going to show you how to add a script, and then scripts are the programming. That's all the coding that goes into our game. So, you know, if you have a character that needs to know how to jump or run, or you need a character to be able to die, you have to code that stuff, right? And the way we do that is by writing something called scripts into our game. So I'll show you how to create a new script, and then I'm going to show you how to make sure that that script opens in the correct software. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is right-click in your assets folder. And remember, anytime we add something to our assets folder, you can do it just by clicking down here and adding it directly into the assets folder. So we're going to right-click, we're going to go to Create, and we're going to do C# script. Now, it does not matter if you use JavaScript or C#. If you are like a super JavaScript programmer and you want to do everything this year in JavaScript, or if you want to do everything in C#, it's totally up to you. I think I'll be doing most of my tutorials in C#. I'm not sure what the OHS does, but you know, we'll see as the year goes on. So C#, and then we have a new C# script here. Now, when we double click this script, it's going to allow us to edit it using a text editor called MonoDevelop. Okay, and that is a text editor that comes with Unity. Now, the problem that some of you are having is that when you double click this, software called Visual Studios is coming up. So let me show you how to change that. So again, we're going to go to Edit. We're going to go to Preferences. This time, we're going to do External Tools. And then External Script Editor, we're going to make sure that this is set to MonoDevelop, which is the built-in software. Now, if you downloaded Visual Studios with Unity, you might say Visual Studios here. You want to make sure that you have MonoDevelop as an option. If you don't, then you need to go back and download Unity again and make sure that you click yes to downloading MonoDevelop, okay? So we have MonoDevelop. We're going to exit out of this, and now when I double click this script, it's going to open up another piece of software called MonoDevelop, and this is where we'll be editing all of our code. So if you've ever done anything like Notepad++ or Notepad, this is exactly what that is. It's just got more tools. It's got, you know, a debugger and, you know, project, version management and all this kind of jazz. But basically, it's just a text editor like Microsoft Word. That's what it is. It's just a glorified text editor. Okay, so this doesn't make much sense to you right now. The only thing you're seeing is 2 functions to start. There's void, and what that means is that this function is not returning anything. And remember, you don't have to know what that means yet. The second part says start, and what that means is that this function will run right when your game turns on. So right when anyone turns on your video game or they start playing, this function is going to run. And then you'll see an update function which says update is called once per frame. So if your game's running at 60 frames per second, this function is being called every single second. Okay, so if you have things that are happening the whole time during your game, clouds are moving or a timer is going, that's something that you would put inside of your update function. Okay, but something like the ability to, I don't know, the background color, you'd want to put something like that in your start function because you want it to just be consistent throughout your whole game. Okay, so, but we'll get more into detail about the functions and stuff later in the unit, but right now you just need to know that this is MonoDevelop. Okay, so we've added a script, we've saved a scene. The last thing I'm going to show you how to do, and this is the last part of Unity Basics, is how to save your project. And it's super simple. Go to File, Save Project. And the cool thing is about Save Project over Save is that it's going to save everything. It's going to save your assets folder, it'll save your script, it's going to save your scenes, it's going to save your movements. So everything saves at once. So make sure you do File, Save Project. And when you exit Unity, it's going to give you the option again to save usually, unless you've just saved like I just did, and then you're done with editing your project. So hopefully that gives you a really quick peek and preview into what Unity is, what it looks like, how to get to those screens that I showed you in class today. So check out the recording from class today. Hopefully you watch, if you're not, well, if you're watching this recording, then you're hearing what I'm saying right now. So hopefully this gets you set up. Make sure that you have Unity and you can do all the things that I just did by Friday of this week, because next week we jump into Unit 5 into detail and we start working with a project. So good luck everyone with Unity. I cannot wait to jump into it and start working with it. I love this piece of software. It is awesome. So good luck, and just let me know if you need any help.